I want to give thanks to all of my supporting members and patrons. Thank you all so very much. Hello, good evening and welcome. Who was it said gremlins? There ain't no gremlins here. We done got sound. I can see we got sound. You can't catch me out like that. Good evening to everyone. Hello, names at random as usual. Bob Nodell's Gyroscope. Thanks, Bob. Pixel Domination. Thanks for the tip, Pixel. That video is well on its way. Pearlfish. Neek Nugents. I'm sorry if I've screwed your name up. I do apologise. Neek Nike. Sorry. Tony Regime. Andy M. May. Andy C. Joe Howard. Timo. Good evening to you. And going back a bit, we got Adam L. We got Marek. We got Christopher Bell. Oh, there's me. Demon Orb. Hello to you, Demon. The Turtle Moves. Hello. Just scrolling back. Don't want to miss anyone if I can, because I think that's just about everyone. Penguin 95. Don't want to miss you up, pal, do we? Mike M. Hello to you, Mike. Lots and lots of very, very recognisable names. Ain't you lot got homes to go to? Oh yeah, it's lockdown, isn't it? So good evening to you. I just thought, yeah, you got me second guessing myself now. I just had to check the sound to make sure it was actually coming through all right. Yeah, there's always something in there. I don't know what the screw up will be tonight. It'll be fun finding out, won't it? Talking about screw ups. Actually, just before we do, tonight, as you, I hope, have seen, we're going to do a review stroke debunk. I can't say debunk because I don't know what's in it. But we're going to do have a look at a video by Carl Adams of the Flat Earth Institute of Science. And despite the very, very short notice, Carl has been kind enough to jump onto the Discord to sit in here with me and while we go through it. So that's going to be interesting. I have seen maybe the first 30 seconds of the vid, and then I just scooted the slider along, saw there's a picture of Mage, something to do with the kitchen, goodness knows what that is, and I thought, do you know what? Because Carl had asked me to have a look at it. Do you know what? Why not do it live without having seen it? So I'm opening myself up to a little bit of risk. Firstly, I could say something really stupid, and secondly, he may actually, and I don't mean this in any disbelieving way, but Carl may actually present something that makes you think, oh, I can't explain that, or I've got no other comment to make about it. If that's so, that is so, and if need be, I can always come back to it. So big thank you, Kyle, for showing up. And I just realised it's Friday, isn't it? You know, I work random shift pattern. I didn't know until it is Friday, isn't it? I'm going to have to double check now. Yeah, it's Friday. I don't have, and I never have, the faintest idea of what day of the week we are in. So that was a nice surprise. So Friday Night Live. Incidentally, do keep an eye out, because on Monday night, I guess it's Tuesday morning, I may be appearing on a very large channel. It's very late for me, but I happen to finish work at midnight, and there's a live stream on this channel, and we're trying to sort it out so I can pop on for some of the live stream. I'll give more news about that nearer the time. So before I bring Carl in, well, first of all, I'd like to say I enjoyed those Yo Mama jokes. Thankfully, YouTube only saves the live chat from the point the video starts. So anyone who wasn't here really enough to see all those Yo Mama jokes, you've missed out, because you can't play it back. Yeah, Flatzoid FE, Flatty. Hopefully he'll watch this. He's got his knickers in the twist, hasn't he? I hope and I trust and I expect really that you've all watched that video with him and his star trails. He had put that forward, I am sure, as a serious flat earth video. When I saw it, I said, well, I grabbed a copy of it quickly, of course, and I said, oh, don't take it down. I've got to do a video on this. And yeah, he's been waiting for it. So I did the video where I feel I absolutely smashed him because he doesn't know about the two stellar points of rotation, how they can rotate in different directions or different rotation directions at the same time, but the stars are still going in the same direction. So I explained that in a video. He also had a video where he apparently showed star rotations in different directions. Unfortunately, he didn't seem to pick up the fact that the guy who'd made the video, and it's a lovely video and he wasn't being underhand at all, had done it in such a way for artistic reasons. And actually, if you haven't seen it, I won't spoil it. Those of you who've seen it, know. But it was quite obvious that Flatzoid didn't realise what he was looking at. So I busted him on that as well. And I did a little experiment with this spinny chair, which has gone down quite well. So that was good fun. Sorry, I just... Thanks for that link, Carl. I'll enjoy that later. Actually, why not drop it in the chat at the end? If you remind me at the end, Carl, because I don't want people going to look at it now, do I? He's given me a link to a Yo Mama battle. I do like Yo Mama jokes. That one I did tell. I'm not going to go into loads of Yo Mama jokes, but one of them, Yo Mama is so fat, when she goes to KFC, she licks everybody's fingers, was actually made up by my daughter, which kids are, because she was quite young, kids' jokes are usually quite rubbish. I did find that one funny. Anyway, going back to Flatzoid, sorry. Yeah, so I did my video, and of course quite a few people decided to review his video, as well as making comments in mine, voting whether they thought he was dumb or a liar or both. Apparently I have fallen for his trap. He said that he'd left a baited hook, and he has hooked me. Apparently, again, and there is now a pinned comment of his, it shows that the Globers believe that there is a dome. I don't know where that comes from. Thank you, Tony Regime, the swivel chair experiment. I tell you what, I went round, that's 2 shots because I did it the first time and I forgot to press record on my camera. But as I was going round, you can see me leaning as it's getting dizzy. Yeah, can you be too stupid to lie, says a madman? I don't know. Yeah, he's definitely hand waving. Aha! I caught you. I knew you'd fall for that. When it was quite patently obvious that he didn't know what he's talking about. He actually had one of the captions in his video saying Globers believe, and this isn't word for word, but Globers believe that in the south stars rise in the west and set in the east. Now he's trying to sort of deny everything, and it was all some sort of trick to hook us. Well, Flatzoid, if you're watching this, you have hooked me. I have been fooled. Go on, do that video, smash me and embarrass me. Looking forward to that. Yeah, that is what they always say, Pearl. We've seen it before, haven't we? And Mike, you're right, he ran away from Conspiracy Cats Challenge. The chair deserves its own channel. The chair with Arnold on it, just spinning round, nothing else. You're suing. Well, a madman, you're quite welcome to sue. Flatzoid will see you in court. Failzoid. Do you know what, dog? I was looking earlier on just to check the latest comments. Oh, his channel's gone. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. I've actually got another one, because it's happened before, got another one, done a video, and he's taken down his channel. Maybe because I didn't put the FE at the end, so I searched again with the FE. No, his channel's not there. I thought, oh my goodness, I've got to do something with this. And then realised I'd actually searched for Failzoid instead of Flatzoid. It comes so naturally. Oh, well. So, Captain Nutnut, that's a new name. Good evening to you. And a madman. Actually, I do recall you being in here before. I think I do anyway. You know what it's like. So many people in and out, and it's easy to get lost. Now, I think we better bring Kyle in, because I don't know how he is for time. Kyle, we got a 30-second warning. and then I'll pull you in. It's going to be a little awkward having a look at his video. We'll talk about his video first, because if I'm playing it, he's not going to either hear or see it until it comes through on the YouTube. So I think he's just going to have to remember bits of the video, or watch the stream a little delayed. We'll muddle through. Okay, let's... Well, actually, first of all, I need to get on the Discord, let alone get Kyle in there. There, I'm in there. Right. Let's make sure that's switched on, because we're having no sound problems tonight. Not with a special guest like Kyle. So let's bring him in. Hello, good evening, Kyle. Are you there? Hello, Kyle. Have I got a little cuttlefish for you? Kyle. He's muted right now.
There you go. There's a button.
There's a button. Hello. How are you, Kyle?
Doing good.
Good. And is it just you there, or Mrs. Kyle Adams there as well?
Oh, she's with the kids. She's going to keep them quiet.
Oh, you got kids. Do you mind if I ask how many kids or what sort of ages they are?
I've got 3 girls and 1 boy.
Oh, well, that's one more than me. I just stuck with 3 girls. That was enough. Anyway, I hope you and all your family are well.
Yeah, we're all doing good.
Good. Yeah. Now, I don't know if you were listening to the stream there, but I said a couple minutes earlier, that you had asked me to have a look at your video. Now, I have not watched it. You'll have to trust me on that. As I said, I saw about the first 30 seconds. Then I thought, I wonder, how about doing this live without looking at it? I've done videos or looked at videos live before, but always having had a look at it. And then I thought, I know, I'll give Kyle a shout just on the off chance. And lo and behold, you stepped up to the plate, sir.
Hey, yeah, I look forward to this.
Yeah, I was also saying, though, where we do have a problem is if I'm playing your video, you sat there in the Discord are not going to hear it or see it until it comes through on the screen. So do you know, well, I presume you know your video well enough as we go through a bit. I mean, you'll see it appear, it's just it'll be with a bit of a delay.
That's fine, yeah.
Okay. Well, without telling me everything that's in it, why was it, I mean, I have an idea, but explain to people, if you can, why it was that you wanted me to have a particular look at it, or me in particular to have a look at it.
Because the mage observation that you shared is a major part in this lesson. It's a pretty short lesson here, but yeah, it's big. I guess you could say this is the latest mage response video.
Okay. Now I'm, and just from a very, very little bit, I'm going to guess it's to do. Well, I saw the bit at the beginning. It said something about image scrunching in your previous video. Perhaps just in case anyone hasn't seen, what I've done is obviously I've done mage. Carl had done a video including scrunching images side to side. I responded and pointed out how that is valid. Kyle had a look, didn't you, Kyle? And then said basically, yep, I can understand where I went wrong, which is absolutely an honest thing to do, and that's not a problem. But now you've come up with this new response. Is that basically where we're at?
Yeah, this one is. This is part of the curriculum. I was telling you before how I was going to take what you said into consideration and add it to the curriculum. And so this one is building off of the prior lesson, which had to do with image scrunching. And then this is taking it to the next level.
Okay. So we've gone. I'll have to apologise. I didn't see that previous one, the image scrunching one. So this is the next step beyond that one. Okay. Oh, that's fine. So I don't know what's in it.
I have a recap, and it pretty much sums it up. The image scrunching one is where I took the picture of MC Tune's horizon with the straight edge, and I measured the curve, and yeah. And so
is that the one with the spirit levels on each side? Is that the one?
They're red beams. That's what they are.
Oh.
They kind of look like levels, but they're just red beams.
Okay. All right. I know the image you mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did an analysis of that one in lesson 1, part 2, and so I'll do a recap at the beginning of this lesson.
All right. Just as an aside, and I'm not going to put you on the spot here, Kyle. First of all, did you happen to see my video about the Flatzoid FE's star rotation video?
No, I don't think so.
You haven't. because I'd be interested. As I said, I'm not going to put you on the spot now, but I'd be interested for you to have a think about and see if you can come up with any explanation for 2 points of stellar rotation in the night sky. Okay, the stars going anti-clockwise around Polaris and clockwise roughly around Sigma Octantis in the south. I'm not going to put you on the spot now. That's unfair. That's not what you're here for. But perhaps sometime you have a think on that.
I've got a video about that one. I'd love to talk about that another time.
Okay. I've not seen that one. Perhaps afterwards you can drop me a link. So because I know you've got quite a few videos, and rather than me get the wrong one, like I did earlier on, Carl had actually sent me a link to this video, then some more chat, and then sent me a link to a video and said, I'd like you to review my video. And I had a look, and I thought, well, what do you want me to do with it? I did have a glance. It's someone else's video, very short video, about 19 seconds. I was looking at the wrong one. So I wouldn't want that to happen again.
We can pull that one up. Yeah, we can pull that one up later on in this video.
It's related, is it? Okay.
It's related.
Okay.
Yeah. There's an observation that I wasn't aware of when I first made the video, and then someone on my debate board brought it up to me and, hey, check this out. I was like, oh, okay. And so it was something I wasn't aware of before that I wanted you to be aware of, just to be fair. Okay.
And well, I was going to ask, is it something that you felt supports you, or is something that's does not support you, but you're going to have a look at explaining?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't support the point that I made in the video, and so I wanted to share it and say, just to be fair, this has been addressed, and I'm taking that into consideration.
Okay.
But we'll talk about more of that when we get to there.
All righty. Well, I'll tell you what. Let me see if I've got my Discord, my OBS set up. Yes, I have. So, what is it? Tell me when you got the screen in front of you, Kyle. Can you see the stream?
Yeah, I can see the stream.
Tell me when it comes up with the start screen, your video. I'm just seeing what the delay is.
Okay, I'll let you know when I see it.
Good grief, we're already at nearly 20-second delay. Ooh.
There it is.
It's just come up, so it's about 20-second delay. So that's not brilliant. All right, can't be helped really. I think I've done just about all I can getting my internet fixed. All right, let's give this a go. So what I'll do then, Kyle, I will let this play a bit, and I'll pause it every now and then. And I'll tell you roughly where it is. You can sort of watch on the screen with a 20-second delay. We'll have to make allowances for that. So let's give it a go. Yeah, looking forward to this. Okay, thanks then, Kyle. We'll go for it.
In lesson 1.1, based on evidence, we formed the hypothesis that the Earth is flat. In lesson 1 part 2, we acknowledged that sometimes the horizon does appear to curve. However, we pointed out that just because we can sometimes see curvature, that doesn't automatically mean the Earth is a globe.
Okay, Kyle, I know that you can't hear everything you're saying. You just said that just because you can sometimes see curve doesn't automatically mean it's a globe. You know the bit still right at the intro. I'd have to agree with that. You take one observation or just a few observations of whichever, then that's not going to be enough to prove anything. Thinking of Nathan Oakley, Mitchell from Australia, and whoever it was, that black swan stuff. You know the black swan argument, Kyle? Yeah.
The oil rigs on the horizon?
Absolutely. They took that one observation and ruled that's it, that shows it, and ignored every other observation. You can't do that. You've got to do lots of tests to make a determination. So, I don't disagree with what you're saying. If you see a curve, that doesn't mean anything. Perhaps it's down to weather, perhaps it's down to some sort of atmospheric effect or temperature or lens distortion or lots of things. Absolutely. Okay, cool. No disagreement so far. Do you want to? Should we stop there? Well, you got 100%. Oh dear. Okay. I'll let it go a bit. And by the way, people in chat, please make comments. Make comments. But I do ask. I know that you might be a bit rough on Kyle, but the guy has done this video. Kyle has always been impeccably polite, and Kyle has had the decency to come on here not knowing what I'm going to say about his video. So I've got to give you, again, Kyle, thanks for that, mate.
Thank you.
Let's go then.
With that, our hypothesis still stands, and now it has been expanded, acknowledging that different factors can sometimes cause the flat Earth to appear to curve.
I'm going to pause it there. You said with that your hypothesis still stands, but acknowledging there's other factors that might make it look as though it's going to curve. So why would you take and stick at that hypothesis, Kyle?
Why would I stay with the hypothesis?
Why would you have that as a hypothesis that it's flat while you're sort of still investigating it? Shouldn't you be... perhaps I'm being harsh. I don't mean to be harsh, because I suppose really when I sent up Mage, I was accepting that perhaps I could photograph a flat Earth, but I was expecting a globe. So... And by the way,
it's just a hypothesis here. We're just, I've taken observation number one, or evidence number one, and then we've built on that and just move forward. And so this one's all entitled disconfirming evidence. What would it take to disprove our hypothesis?
Oh, okay, all right. Well, let's let it go, because I'm cognizant of the fact that I've already stopped this twice and we're only 34 seconds. It's not that I'm trashing it, but it's just an interesting point. Okay, I'll let it go a bit.
Now, as many already know, a frequent factor that causes horizons to appear to curve is a camera's lens distortion. When someone shows you a picture of a curved horizon, this is something important that should be taken into consideration.
Okay, I'm stopping it briefly. You just mentioned about the different types of that there's different distortions, and it should be taken into consideration. Absolutely, bang on, Kyle. Cannot disagree with that. Sorry, do you have any other comments about that?
I noticed in your video you actually went and talked about that as well.
Yeah.
When you acknowledged that and you talked about the Mage, and
I think it's very important because with Mage, I was deliberately trying to have a camera that was as undistorted as I could afford, but I had to acknowledge there was some slight distortion. Absolutely. Okay.
With that, I really hold the Mage on a pedestal here because it set standards that I haven't seen very many other people actually hold to.
Well, thank you very much. This is a loving tonight, isn't it? I better give you. Actually, I haven't done it, Kyle. I'm going to give your video a like anyway. You just bought yourself a like there, my friend. Okay, let's carry on.
Neil Tyson was smart enough to acknowledge this when he spoke of this Red Bull drop photo.
Show us where the International Space Station is, Hubble, etc.
Okay. So if the Earth were actually this size, the International Space Station would be orbiting about a half an inch above the surface. And that dude who jumped out of a perfectly good balloon, what's his name? Felix Baumgartner. He would have been about 2 millimeters above the surface of this globe. That's his edge of space jump.
Yeah, well, deGrasse Tyson's just said that that's his edge of space jump. I've got to admit, with Mage, I said in the video, I said, come fly with me to the edge of space. Yeah, it's not really the edge of space. It's just really, in fact, we're not much difference apart. That was my target, was to just beat Baumgartner, Kyle. I didn't quite make it, but I called it the edge of space as well. It was it's certainly very high, and the pressure was so low that yeah. But flat earthers do love this clip of Neil deGrasse Tyson. Can I ask you, what do you think of Neil deGrasse Tyson, Kyle?
He says a lot of really interesting stuff that makes things a lot easier for me. I'll say that much. Yeah, there's a lot of people who argue about this and that, and then all of a sudden I share a clip of Neil Tyson saying it, and argument's over with. I just caught him recently talking about. He said he was talking about fictitious forces, and he said,
"Oh yeah,
fictitious forces are forces that do not exist." And so I was like,
"Yep."
Wow, bingo! I'm liking this Neil Tyson a lot more and more every day.
Oh, well, then you must like me, because I said that as well, didn't I, Kyle? On was it on a video or one of your community posts or whatever? Fictitious Forces?
We talked about that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to discuss that aspect of it in a little while, but it's getting a bit off topic. Yeah, but the reason...
It's easy to get jumped.
Isn't it just?
Isn't
it just? I mean, but DeGrasse Tyson, this clip, we all know what he's going to say. We will play it, but we all know what he's going to say. That stuff is flat. Now, one thing that gets me, Carl, is a lot of flat earthers will say, "Ha!" Oh, I knocked my mic. "Ha! Neil has said that the Earth is flat. There you go, boom." But then they will just happily ignore anything he has said. Where, for instance, he said it's pear-shaped. Now, I mean, that was a poor choice of words. He's a communicator. He's making this popular. I mean, the pear shape, if you drew that shape, you wouldn't be able to tell it from a perfect circle. I mean, measured...
I've got a video of him sharing that exact thing, and I talk about that one in my Modern Earth Science Destroyed series. Just in this last episode of that, we talked about that.
Okay. Well, yeah, but you see, they will take him saying that stuff is flat, that little quote, and say, there you go. And that's Neil deGrasse Tyson. You all trust him, so that's right. But then they'll ignore him. If you actually asked Neil directly, is the Earth flat or is the Earth roughly a globe?
He's very much a globe earther.
Absolutely. But you see, they'll pick... No, I'm not accusing you of this, but they will pick him saying that stuff is flat and ignore everything else. Because if you took another quote of him saying it's a globe, they'll say, he's just a NASA shill. So
people like to pick out the strongest points and use them and just focus on that. And so the reason why I really wanted to share this is because he's talking about the whole Felix Baumgartner observation, and he's talking about lens distortion, just like you did.
Okay.
And so so I've shared a bit more of this clip than you normally see.
Yes, I know. You have, and let's let that go then. Let's let that run for a while.
Now, I don't. It's fine. He wants to. I don't have a problem if he does it, but the honesty of it would greatly diminish what I think people thought he was actually doing. And not only that, they made sure to photograph him standing there with a really wide-angle lens, which curves horizontal lines.
I'm stopping it again, Kyle. He's just saying about the wide-angle lens. Absolutely, that's a wide-angle lens. And
see, that's the whole thing about this. My whole point here is building up on that. Just because we see curvature, that doesn't automatically mean the Earth is a globe.
Yeah.
Just building up on that.
No, that's true. And a wide-angle lens will distort like crazy. Yes, it makes a great photograph. Of course it does. That's why I included a wide-angle lens in the other view in Mage, because you get a nice wide view and a beautiful shot of the Earth, of course.
And I really like that too, because you could see this is what it looks like with a wide-angle lens experience. You could have that comparison. Say,
yes,
that verifies that this is a narrow-angle lens, because this is what a wide-angle lens looks like.
Yeah. I mean, and without doubt, that's a wide-angle lens, and I don't think it's been hidden at all, and no one that I'm aware of has taken that image or that little clip of film and said, there you go, the Earth is a globe you can see. I mean, okay. All right, let's let him carry on.
So in the photo, you see this curvature of Earth's surface, and he said, wow, he's in space. Look at that. No, he's not. At that height, you don't see the curvature of the Earth if you are 2 millimeters above this beach ball. You just don't. That stuff is flat.
I do, though, wish, Kyle, he hadn't said that stuff is flat. If he had said the curve is so imperceptible you can barely see it, you need to be careful at measurements, like I was in a Mage, to try and see the curve. You have to take, you have to avoid anything like lens distortion, and even then, with the best shots in Mage, where it's in the middle, it's still, you can think and look and think that looks curved, but it's only really when you put a line against it that it becomes apparent. So, yeah, but he's not going to say that. He's going to say it looks flat, because it does look flat.
There's a reason why all the flat earthers love him so much.
Yes. Well, they certainly love this little clip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone's got any particular questions to ask Kyle. Perhaps what you could do is sort of make a note of them, and then a bit later on, if there's any particular points that you want to address, we can post them, and if Kyle's willing and able, we can throw some questions at him. Questions, not outright insults, please. Okay. All right, but they might still be rough though, Kyle. I can't help that. All right. Okay, let's carry on with Neil.
And then I showed examples of
how their questions pertain to the content, because I've shared this video a whole bunch of places, and a lot of people will watch it and then they ask a whole bunch of questions that have nothing to do with the video whatsoever. I'm like,
yeah,
come on, guys.
Okay.
wide-angle lenses, curving horizontal. I tweeted that.
You did.
But I don't want to be a spoil, curmudgeon or anything. I just wanted to put. I don't.
Lens distortion doesn't just happen with wide-angle lenses. Here, Jeranism took a picture of his granite countertop with a pretty ordinary lens. Now watch what happens when he scrunched the image just like we did in lesson 2. Boom! After scrunching his level countertop, it appeared to curve because of lens distortion.
Right, you just found Jeranism's scrunched countertop.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to find these days. Thankfully I had some help.
What, finding his video? I've not seen that image before. I've not seen that before. And of course, yeah, that's quite valid. It shows that there is a slight distortion in his, and indeed any, camera. So I don't see as a problem with that. If you just took that, let's say that was the Earth he was photographing, a flat Earth, and then scrunched it, said, aha, look, there's a curve, the Earth is curved. Just with that one image, you don't know anything about where the distortion is on the camera, do you? Or how bad it is. That would be dishonest. If I had taken one picture with Mage, especially if I had taken one with the horizon near the top of field of view, where the barrel distortion would have been to my advantage, and presented that, then yeah, that would have been unfair, wouldn't it?
So I'm building up that whole, we need standards if you're going to present this as evidence and say, oh, this is proof that the Earth is a globe. No, you got to have standards to verify it.
Okay. But that is interesting. I haven't seen him do that. So, yeah, he has shown that his camera has some distortion in. The secret would be if you were literally trying to photograph to prove whether his countertop was actually flat or curved, either bowed or the opposite of bowed, unbowed. You'd need to know which part of the lens distorted how much and in which directions, wouldn't you? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm not sure where that was because he zoomed in. I mean, I understand, so he can accentuate it, but he zoomed in, so I'm not sure if when he actually took that photo, it was near the top or the bottom of his lens.
This is like the exact photo from his thing. And so
oh yes, I'm not saying you've done anything with it at all. I'm not saying you've done anything with it at all, Kyle. No. All right, let's see what.
I've got a link to that actual video too. It's attached there, but that's the time.
Well, if you've got it to hand, if you DM it to me, I'll pop it into the chat, or if you drop it into general, perhaps one of the mods can pick it up from general chat on Discord and drop it into the chat so people can have a look at that at some point. It's still a live video, is it, of Jeranism's?
This one is an old video of his on his Mirror channel right now. I'll go ahead. I'll drop that to you if I can.
Okay. An observer says, can we see a picture of it before he's scrunched? I'll just take it back a second. There you go. There's
Jeranism. He actually did this a whole bunch with a whole bunch of different pictures. So he took multiple pictures of his countertop, not just one.
Yes. Okay. It would be interesting. It would be interesting to see that if he took the same picture as a level picture, near so it's the top of the field of view, across the middle, across the bottom. All the stuff we're talking about with Mage. So people who are watching, I just skipped it back a few seconds. It's that countertop. Now, as you can see, the countertop is, I don't know, say 15% of the way up the screen, but when we see it scrunched, it's halfway up. So whether that was that image that he scrunched and then zoomed in the bottom part, or whether he took another image, I don't know. I've not seen journalism's video. We'll see. Okay.
And that's something that's easy to verify for yourself when you actually watch.
Well, watching his video, yeah.
Look at he'll show one picture, and then after that, he'll show the next picture where he's scrunching. You can actually do that yourself. Yeah, I've done that. But
yeah. Well, Tony Regime said
didn't share them all because the point's been made, and I really like this because it verifies, or it puts emphasis on why you're setting the standard is so important. The strings on your thing, and I'll talk about that soon.
Yeah. Well, Observer says, why does the background look different? I think that most of that background is outside of the image. It's literally the whole image scrunched. I can't comment on journalism, how fair he was with that image. I've not seen the video. When we get hold of that link, we'll drop it in there, and people can obviously go and have a look themselves. But the one good thing, actually, Carl, is I'm sure that, well, he could get a level or some sort of straight edge, run it along his counter to prove that the counter was flat, take this photograph and scrunch it, and that proves... Oh, actually, what am I talking about? There must have been some curve for it to scrunch, or he's saying that there isn't any curve, but it's still got a curve with a scrunch.
He's saying that the granite countertop itself is expected to be completely level and flat.
That is certainly what you'd expect. So I guess he's saying then that scrunching has made something that is absolutely flat show a curve.
That's the point, yes.
But that's his point. But if his lens has put a slight distortion in it, then he's accentuating the distortion. So that's still okay. It's just that if you were trying to prove the shape of something, you'd need to allow for that much distortion, wouldn't you? Do you see what I'm saying?
If you're trying to prove that something, you need to allow for that much distortion.
Yeah, okay, he has got what I'm sure is a straight level counter. Okay, and it's not warped in any way. He takes a photo, scrunches it, and it shows a curve. I would say that what has happened is he has taken a photo which it has slight distortion in it, of course, because it's got a lens. That puts a very, very slight curve in it. Like my strings on Mage, those strings actually were dead straight. They had to be, because they were spring-loaded taut lines. And yet one of them was in a slightly distorted area of the lens. So then when you scrunched it, you could see a slight curve. The bottom one had a slight curve down. So that's the same effect he's got. So
yes.
Yeah. So it's just showing there is distortion in that lens, just as mine did. So if you were going
that was the entire point.
Yeah, so if he had the horizon or the edge of the Earth in view alongside his countertop, you'd expect his lens to affect that horizon, if the horizon was across that point of the image, affect that horizon that much. In this case, it's bent it up in the middle. So if the horizon was bent up in the middle, you'd have to, in effect, deduct that much curve of it to see if there really was curve, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
And hello, good evening, Blue Marble Science, who says there's no guarantee that granite is actually flat. That's true, Blue, but I suppose if you were doing this as some sort of test, you could actually stick some sort of rule along that granite top. Unfortunately, we couldn't stick a rule along the horizon of the Earth. I ain't got one long enough.
And that's the importance of having the unscrunched image, is it allows you to see how flat it was before you scrunched it.
Yep. Okay. Right. Well, let's let him carry on and see what's next in your video. So we got his the scrunch countertop. Well, let's see what's next.
Level countertop, it appeared to curve because of lens distortion.
And for the ultimate proof, watch this. I drew this image, which is just a white line, perfectly straight, drawn on a completely black background. I then open it up on my computer and take a photo of it from a camera. I then condense it, and the straight line is curved. But it's a straight line, we drew it.
Okay, so it's just journalism's done his straight line photograph of a screen thing, Kyle. But it's the same. It's the same thing. I think he's implying. I'm not saying you're implying, but his argument is basically that the photos of Earth are curved because of distortion. Because hey, here's a straight line, and now it looks curved. He's
We
right.
just get a lot of arguments about people who keep showing us the same images all the time, but they don't have any kind of verification behind them like you do with the Mage. They don't have the strings, and so they're
Okay.
like, "Oh, I see a curve," and so they're going ahead and making that straight assumption, saying, "Oh, curvature equals globe." Does
Right,
that make
I see.
sense?
Yeah,
we
okay.
We're faced with these kind of arguments all the time, and so
Oh.
he's saying, "No, curvature does not equal globe. You've got to verify it."
All
It's
right.
not
So
lens
I
distortion.
I went so far. I mean, I didn't do one of these grid things. I'm not a photographer. I don't know all the ins and outs. Someone did mention it about it before I did Mage, but in the excitement, it got forgotten. Showing a grid in front of the camera before we flew. Although since then, I believe Q has done some sort of grid test. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm just quickly going to read out. I've got a couple of super chats, Carl, if you'll forgive me a second. Read out a couple of super chats. First one, I've got to get it full size. First one's from Marek. Thank you, Marek, for 10 Polish zloty, saying, "Go buy some snacks for your internet hamsters." Yeah, thanks for that, Marek. Yeah, Carl. Last week I had some internet problems. I've just had a new line to the house put in, but it didn't help. Seems to have settled down now. And a Madman, thank you, Madman, super chatted £5 and said, "Is the mast of a tall ship larger than the hull? If not, why can I see the mast first? Please explain." Well, that's a very good point, a Madman. Because when you think of the angular resolution left to right of a mast, that's a very tiny thing. But up down where you've got the hull, that's a great big comparatively great big chunk of something at a distance. So if the mast can still be sorry,
talking about curvature on the z-axis, but
oh yes,
we're not
yes,
there to
yes, but Kyle, if that let's pick a random distance. Let's say the ship is 5 miles away, just for the sake of argument. If you can see the mast from top to bottom, but only half the hull, just for the sake of argument, if someone's going to say that's because it's so far away that it's compressed, why would it only compressed in the whichever axis it is, up down? Why hasn't it compressed left to right? The ship that from stern to prow has also compressed if you're looking at it sideways, but you can still see it. The mast you can still see. So why has so much of the hull vertically compressed? That's what he's getting at. But
that's a question for lesson 2, and I do plan on going back and updating those because a lot of those are like about a year old now. And,
okay,
yeah,
okay, and it's not the topic. It's not the topic of Kyle's video tonight, anyway.
One's definitely a lesson 2 question, and this is still part of lesson 1.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually bring that up at the very end of this one. I show a picture of the sinking ship observation, and yeah, so I kind of lead up to that. That's coming.
Okay. All right. Well, that's something to look out for then. Just going back to this and about the distortion, Cinnamon Controls just pointed out, and absolutely correctly, that across the centre, and that's either horizontally or vertically, you will not get that distortion, which is why the horizon shots from Mage that should be used are the ones as close as possible to the centre. So it's not going to flatten the curve, it's not going to accentuate the curve. Any curve there, if there is any, should be what is actually there.
I'll talk about that really soon, about the rule of thumb with the Mage, is saying your Mage project allows there to be some curve, but it's not allowed to be any more curved than the strings are. If it's more curved than the strings are, it is not being caused by lens distortion. And I'll talk about that soon.
Good. Well, in this video? Okay, cool. So just before we carry on, I see there's another super chat from Truth Nerds for €5. Thank you very much, Truth. saying the second image of the countertop is greatly magnified vertically, exaggerating curvature from what would assume from the smaller horizontal size. Well, yeah, but the point that Jeranism is making is that, and let's assume that his countertop is perfectly vertical, and anyway, he's got this straight white line now. By compressing it, suddenly you can see a curve. You will not see a curve by compressing a straight line. You'll change the angle of it, you will not see a curve. He's now seeing a curve. So he's pointing out, quite rightly, that lens can put curve in. And I don't think either of us...
Like Neil Tyson said, and just like you said.
Yep, and you're agreeing. Yeah. So that's good. We all agree. We're violently disagreeing. Okay, let's see what's next then.
Oh boy.
Every good hypothesis should have disconfirming evidence, a means whereby it can be proven wrong. So with that being the case, if you want to prove the curvature on the horizon is caused by the curvature of the Earth and prove our hypothesis wrong, there are some expectations that you need to meet. First, if you're going to show us curvature in a photo, you need a control measure to rule out the lens distortion.
Okay, well, Carl, you just said you just showed the Baumgartner image again, saying you need a control measure to rule out distortion, which of course is and was the point of Mage with the strings.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So got expectation 1: provide a control measure to rule out lens distortion. Chalk one up for Mage. Sorry.
We definitely agree on that.
Yep, we do. We do. Okay.
We can call that expectation number 1. A flat Earth opponent by the name of Mr. Sensible did an excellent job of meeting this expectation when he used a set of strings as a control measure. With this, the rule was the horizon could not be any more curved than the strings were. If the horizon was more curved than the strings were, it could not be because of lens distortion.
Okay, well, you just shown the Mage thing, and you said some very kind things, Carl. Thank you. And pointing out basically what you said just a minute ago, comparing the curve to the strings, and it's just coming up now with different types of distortion. Well, undistorted pin and barrel. Hello, you still there, Carl?
I'm here.
Okay, yeah. Okay. All right. So, again, there's nothing to disagree or argue about there, so I shall let it go on.
This is because with lens distortion, the center lines are never more curved than the outer lines. So when Mr. Sensible attached his camera to a balloon and launched it over 37,000 meters into the air and found some curvature, we couldn't say it was because of lens distortion.
Oh, nice one. Thank you, Carl. I did a video, didn't I, about, I think it was one about you, where I put ticks every time you... Or was that someone else? Was it the one I did?
You said bingo.
Yeah, and I gave a tick, and now you give me a tick. So that's nice. Hey, what's sauce for the goose? Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is really good. Not really good. It's really good that we're able to have this sort of conversation, that we've done videos back and forth without any rancor. I know that I do like a bit of teasing in that, but there's no malice there. There really isn't.
I can feel that. Yeah, it gives me tingles to think about it.
Okay.
I've got to say though, I got a comment from Nathan Thompson. Apparently, I'm
Oh.
not sure if it was the real one or one of the fake accounts posing as him.
What, on
wasn't
this
happy
video?
He wasn't happy with this video. He called me a moron. He's like, and I'm an expert on morons. I'm like,
Well, he lives with one, doesn't he? Nathan Thompson. Isn't he the guy who used to have the biggest Flat Earth group on Facebook or something?
he's he did the official Flat Earth and Globe discussion, and now there's like five different groups that are all titled the same thing, and I don't know who runs what.
Yeah. I think he lost his group though. I think it was taken down.
Yeah.
We're aware of that. Okay. All right. So you just give me a big tick for that. So all's good so far. I'm waiting for the disagreement in here somewhere. There's got to be a disagreement, Carl. Yeah, there's got to be, because otherwise you'll have emailed me or contacted me and said, "Hey, Mr. S, I've decided the Earth's a globe." So I'm assuming that's not the case. So I'm looking forward to where we differ. All right, let's let it go on then.
Because he fulfilled expectation number 1. With that, he thought curvature equals globe, therefore he wins.
Now this drop-dead gorgeous image is at 35,160 odd metres. It is stunning. There is no doubt that there is curve there. That horizon line is across the middle of the field of view. So barrel distortion up or down is not going to be taking effect. That is a smoking gun. But let's have a look at it compressed. And I'll add a horizontal yellow line again for completeness. Oh look, we done got curve. I'd say it's game over for flat Earth. Right, so I've interrupted just before your response, Kyle. It's just me saying that, showing that image across the middle, basically saying there's curve there, let's compress it, let's compare it with a yellow line. And that is one of the, as far as I'm concerned, one of the smoking gun images, because you can see the curve, the slight curve, especially in the bottom string, which goes the other way, and the curve on the horizon, to my eye, and against the straight yellow line that was added afterwards, the curve there is greater than any curve that there may be in the upper string. Therefore, it's curved more than distortion could have added.
It's not lens distortion. It broke the rule. It's saying if it's any more curved than that, then we can rule out lens distortion.
Okay.
It's not being.
Okay, and to be honest, I think that's where we agreed. Or in your first video about Mage, you basically said, yes, I can see curve. Then the question is, what is it? But you admitted, or sorry, not admitted, that sounds bad, but you agreed that there was curvature or a curve there to the image.
That it was not being caused by lens distortion, because it met this expectation. It followed the rule.
Yes, and what I really liked about that is, although perhaps, because right now we haven't seen all the video, and at the time in your video you had said, yeah, I can see curvature. I didn't know where you were going to go beyond that. That was a level of honesty that I'd not seen from other flat earthers up to that point, because they all basically said, nah, it's straight. You know?
That's, I think
which I felt was quite dishonest of these other people.
A bold move for a lot of people.
I'm sorry?
I think acknowledging stuff like that can be a bold move for a lot of people. And I think that's kind of made it so much fun for me.
Yeah.
Just acknowledging it. And yeah, I think that's part of why Nathan Thompson didn't like this video so much.
Yeah, and I think it's silly because if I take you and Nathan, all the Nathans and so on, if I take you all at face value, because some I don't, I'll be honest, and let's just say that all these flat earthers genuinely believe, they're not in it for the money or anything like that, they genuinely believe it's flat. So if I present this evidence that hey, you can see a curve, how can you explain it? What they should do is explain it. I agree
wholeheartedly.
Yeah, because so often they just don't. Oh, I see that you've got that Jaren Scrunch debunk. Let me just grab that link. So people, if you want to pop it in the side chat now, this apparently is the link to Jarenism's Mirror channel. It's called The Desperation of the Globe Earth Proponents. So this is the one with his countertop scrunching plus other stuff, is it then, Carl? Yeah. So if people want to grab that link or open it in another tab to watch later, that would be good. Alrighty. And I appreciate, Carl, this is quite difficult for you because you can only see your video rather than hear it, and then you're seeing it with a 20-second delay. But we seem to be doing all right.
I'm aware of what I said in the video and everything. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I had just said about that curve. Let's see what your response is.
But remember, in our last lesson, we mentioned how the presence of curvature doesn't automatically mean the Earth is a globe. There were still more expectations that he did not fulfill. As we mentioned in our last lesson, the atmosphere can also cause a horizon to appear to curve. This also needs to be factored out. A simple way to do this is to determine if the horizon has the same amount of curvature all the way across. We checked for this in our last lesson when we measured the curve in this image and found that the left side was more curved than the right side was.
Right, so you're saying about ruling out curvature, and it's just come up with that sort of little tabletop with the what are those? Are those just bars or spirit levels or what, Kyle?
They're just beams. They're
Just beams.
Straight metal beams.
Okay, and so you're saying that you measure the curvature and see if it's the same throughout the image.
That's what I did in the last video. Is I instead of scrunching the image, I just took the image as it was, and then I measured out the curvature to show that it was an uneven amount of curvature.
What? By pixel counting or something?
Yes, by pixel counting.
Okay, which is a thankless task, I know. But then, what if that camera is tilted to the left, to the right by 2 or 3 degrees? Yeah. So you're definitely going to...
Tilting the camera should not affect any kind of curvature, because I did it without scrunching the image. I can see how it would affect something if you were to tilt the camera and then scrunch the image, but if you don't scrunch the image, it shouldn't affect the amount of curvature that you see.
Right, and just
You
for
look at a
anyone
ball
who's...
and you can flip the camera upside down.
Just for anyone who's not aware, and this is not having a go at Kyle, in Kyle's initial Mage debunk, he took images from Mage, scrunched them, and of course sometimes the horizon's at an angle or whatever, and when you scrunch you don't get an even curve after the scrunch. I debunked that. Kyle looked at it and then changed his position and acknowledged that, which is all you can ask. So now this is why you're now doing this other thing unscrunched, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's see what you say about it then.
Notice here how MC Toon also had a means of ruling out lens distortion. However, he failed when it came to meeting the second expectation. To be clear, expectation number 2 was to rule out the atmosphere by showing a consistent amount of curvature.
Right, so saying about this expectation to rule out atmosphere, rule out the atmosphere by showing a consistent amount of curvature. Can you explain that a bit, Kyle?
Yeah, that was this was really built off of the prior lesson, which was lesson 1 part 2, and that's where I showed, even in this picture, in this part, I showed the picture of the fog, and I went more into depth on that in the last one, where about how fog, when it settles, it can kind of create, compared it to a tree line. And if you have trees, you can just imagine those trees being clouds, and they can cause the ground to look curved. And when you have more clouds that are closer to you and thicker on one side, and then you have farther away clouds on the other side,
Okay.
it can make the horizon appear to have a...
So you're looking at the shape of the clouds rather than the shape of the Earth?
Yes.
Right. I can see what you're saying, but if you were looking across, literally across the cloud tops, I could understand that more, because remember with Mage, that horizon distance we're looking at is somewhere in the region of 400 miles away. So any ups and downs of the amounts of cloud is going to be, or at least I would say, is going to be so small it won't be visible.
Yeah. The whole thing is, it's the atmosphere itself. The atmosphere could be thicker on the right side than it could be on the left side. And so that's really the point, is just talking about if we see uneven amounts of curvature, that's not going to be very consistent with the expectation of globe's curvature.
Oh, a couple of things, Kyle. First of all, Tony Regime gives you props for getting MC Toon's name right and not calling him Muck Toon. And Observer has
I made
asked...
that mistake before, then I went and changed it because I learned it wasn't.
Yes.
I learned it wasn't mixing. Oops, I didn't know that.
An Observer asks, "Are you taboo conspiracy?" And I know why. Your voice is very, very similar. I'm not accusing you of being taboo. You're not taboo conspiracy, are you?
I'm not.
No.
No, I'm not.
Perhaps the two of them come from the same part of the world. I don't know, or hail from the same part of the world. But yeah, I can see why you'd say that, Observer. It's a very similar voice, isn't it? Have you ever heard him, Carl?
Yeah, I follow his channel, and I've heard a little bit. He's quoted a lot, and so I've heard him a little bit.
Yeah, well, I'd say you sound quite similar. Okay, right. So, well, the thing is, we wouldn't expect. I mean, you're saying about the different amounts of atmosphere. You can measure the atmospheric pressure, as I did on Mage. Now, in Mage, you're going to have to take it with a pinch of salt. That was a comparatively cheap dual sensor. It did temperature and air pressure. The temperature it was reading a little high, but the air pressure we think was.
My chickens are being noisy.
Sorry, Carl.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go let my chickens out because they're being noisy.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, while he deals with this, yeah, no problem. Yeah. So what you could do, of course, and of course Carl's not here for me to explain it to him. You could measure the air pressure, and we get that gradient, that expected gradient. I hope you guys are all enjoying this. I am. We will reach that point where Carl and I disagree, but the good thing is we can disagree politely. Oh, he's back already, is he? I think he's coming back. Yeah, so has anyone got any points that they'd like me to raise with Kyle when he comes back? And I see that someone's been... Are we getting some issues in the side chat? I hope not. Oh, I was right. The reason I said that is I saw someone get accidentally timed out or whatever. It turns out Tusk has apologised. It was like, I know how easy it is to do when a chat jumps up. So please, Mike, forgive him. I was a little surprised. I thought, what's he done then? Yeah. So what else have we got? This is where the intellectual dishonesty starts to show its ugly head. Well, we'll see. We'll see, Tusk. We shall see.
I'm back.
He's back. The boy's back. What I was just saying, Kyle, I did just ask if anyone had any questions to ask. What I was saying, you were saying about the amount of atmosphere. Mage only had a fairly basic and not very expensive dual temperature air pressure sensor, but even so, it measured the gradient of the atmosphere. Now, if you were really trying to prove things,
measured it for 400 miles straight or anything like that, but
no,
really
it only measured it where it is, and it's within sort of expectations. I don't know how accurate it was. It's not a professional quality sensor, of course, but if you were genuinely trying to do that, you could measure the air pressure gradient at several points. Obviously, you're going to get variations, but enough to bend the whole image. And would it always bend it into that sort of curve, not the other way? Any thoughts about that? Or what sort of effects would you expect to cause? What do you think could cause that horizon line to look bent then?
What would cause it to look bent? Just explain the whole clouds thing. That was one.
Yeah, the clouds. But what I was saying is at 400 miles distance, 400 miles distance. Well, actually, there's a couple of things. 400 miles distance, any variations in the cloud are going to be so tiny you wouldn't be able to see them. But also, whichever direction you actually here, even more so, Kyle. Let's say you're looking straight ahead and you've got that hump of the curve, or apparent hump of the curve in the middle, and it's due to clouds. If you turn a few degrees to the left or right, that hump should have moved to the left or right, but it isn't. You've always got that hump directly in front of you.
Yeah, I think this expectation is really dependent upon that prior lesson, because I go through many examples of different pictures of curvature, and so it'll be straight and all of a sudden you get a little nipple right in the middle of the screen. Why is that nipple there? And so I can't say that's because the Earth has a nipple or anything like that, but it's just a weird blip in the middle of the screen that isn't caused by lens distortion or anything like that. So
well, unfortunately, I've not seen that video. What was your conclusion about this sudden little nipple in the front, in the middle?
My conclusion was it just wasn't caused by the shape of the Earth, and that was it. I wasn't going into a whole lot of detail or depth about it. I just went and showed example after example of different kinds of different pictures of so-called curvature on the horizon, and said, "Is this caused by lens distortion?" They're just examples saying that curvature, the presence of curvature, does not automatically mean the Earth is a globe. And so that's the big emphasis and lesson of two.
Well, Mike M was just asking. I'll pass the comment on, Mike, but it's again, to be fair to Kyle, it's not the subject matter and not what he's agreed to come on. He was just saying boats disappearing behind the horizon on a clear day prove a globe. Sometimes there is high refraction, and that will lift objects and make them look like they are hovering. I don't know. Have you done anything about sort of that sort of atmospheric effect? Mirages and looming and so on, Kyle.
I went and talked about the different kinds of mirages. I went in a full video on each of the different kinds of mirages. So yeah, that's definitely after this lesson. That's part of lesson 2.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I guess we better carry on, because that's expectation 2. Let's see what's next.
Let's see how Mr. Sensible did at fulfilling this expectation. Just brightness and contrast.
I was gonna say, to meet expectation 2, all you have to do is just show that there's an even amount of curvature.
You can see
it's
those
not
pixels
changing. It's not flat on one side and curved on the other, like
rate of
MC Toon's,
curvature over
picture
here.
was.
I seem to be getting a sound feedback. Are you hearing it on yours, Kyle? Are you playing it?
I'm not listening to the
You're not
video. I've muted the video so I can
so I
just
don't know
watch
why.
the pictures.
Sorry, you were just doing colorization on the Mage Horizon. I'll let it carry on.
We can measure it out if we wanted to or needed to. But as we go all the way across, all of a sudden we start getting these big, long stretches of straight horizon. So that's not showing us a consistent amount of curvature. It's a lot flatter over here than it was over here.
Right. Yes. So you're looking at a very close-up image after you've adjusted it, but actually, without the adjustment, it would still be there. That's just an effect of a pixelated screen, Kyle. If it's a curve, it's a big curve, isn't it? So that's down to the screen resolution or the image resolution. As the curve passes horizontal, it's going to be slightly below, at, and then slightly the other way. But your screen resolution isn't enough to show that, so it's going to show that as what do you call it? It's going to show that as a straight line. If you get a graphics package, Kyle, and you draw a big circle like that expectation circle that's in front of us, if you zoom in, when you get close enough, on each side you'll find vertical rows of pixels, and at the top you will find flats of pixels. That's just down to screen resolution. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it was the same screen resolution on the left side of the image as it was on the right side of the image.
Yes, but
and
the
yet
curve
the left side of the image still appeared to curve more than the right side of the image.
But what I'm saying is, let's taking this X that's on the screen right now. If you take a part of it, it's I know you can't see what I'm doing. It's curving down. Partway down that curve, it's going in effect diagonal. So every bit you move, it's going down another row. As you get towards the top, you're getting close to the horizontal, and so it's only going to jump up a row of pixels every now and then. So you're going to get little steps which get longer and longer and longer until you get, in effect, a straight line right at the very top, however wide that line is, and then you're going to get steps get shorter and shorter and shorter until it's vertical again. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's
and so peak,
which part of the circle?
The circle, it's right in the center, and so you're going to have that mirror effect, and we talked about that before.
Well,
the mirror effect on the left side and on the right side.
Okay.
But we shouldn't.
Sorry, Carl. I'm just taking it back to the image just before you scrunched it. So we'll give it a few seconds. Sorry, not scrunched it, before you colorized it. Beg your pardon. I'll wait for it to appear on your screen. Hopefully that will appear soon, because you'll see that on you'll have to. I mean, I know that the two strings are slightly diagonal, but the horizon on the left is lower down the screen than the horizon on the right. Ergo, the peak, if you like, is not exactly center. So take that X.
So you're saying that the additional curve that we're seeing is because it's a different level in the picture. It's getting more lens distortion than the other part ways.
Right. If you take an image of a football, or you take a graphics package to draw a perfect circle, look at the very top of it, but then go slightly to the left, and then zoom in. So the peak of the top of the ball is not exactly center. If you're looking in, imagine it as a clock. You're looking here from just after 12 o'clock towards 11 o'clock. Do you see what I'm saying?
I'm trying to visualize. I'm sorry.
That's not an equal curve.
Kind of visualizing an American football in my mind instead of a soccer ball. I'm sorry.
Oh right, yes. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that is if you were looking at a flat circle, you at the top of it you are slightly off center. You're seeing more curve down to the left than to the right. I think the peak probably is, I don't know, I'm guessing about 4/5 of the way from left to right.
So are you saying that in an unscrunched image we should see the peak in different locations throughout each image?
Because the camera is slightly tilted.
I don't see how tilting the camera is going to change where the peak is going to show when you take the picture.
Have to explain what I'm trying to say. If you have a perfect circle and you take a photo of the top of it, but tilt your camera slightly to the left or right, and you're zoomed in, you're not seeing the very, you've not got the peak of that curve exactly central. That's going to be hard. Yeah, please do. It's actually quite hard to explain what I mean.
If I were to put a hula hoop down on the middle of the floor and I were to take pictures looking down at it, if I were to rotate my camera left to right, will that peak in the hump, will that peak be a different location because
right. I know what you're saying. Now, okay, if that hula hoop is on the floor, and let's say you're stood on a chair looking down at it, you take a photo, you could see the whole hula hoop. Tilting your camera is not going to make any difference. There will always be a peak exactly in the middle. Absolutely. Instead of that, get down on your hands and knees and hold the camera, let's say, 1.5 feet above the one edge of that hula hoop. Then tilt the camera left or right. Do you see what I'm saying now? So you're only seeing a tiny part of the circle. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think it's going to be the same. I'm just trying to visualize that in my mind, but I really think it's going to be the same as it was before.
Okay. Obviously not for now, but do your kids have a hula hoop?
I think they do. I hope it's still. They never last long. They always get bent up.
Yes.
So I'll have to look around for those.
The Earth isn't flat, isn't a globe? It's bent. Yeah, but I think that would do it. If you took a photo just let's say 2 feet above, so that that hula hoop's passing across your field of view, and try it with the camera slightly rotated differently, you will not have the peak of the curve. Well, actually, you think about it. You got that hula hoop on the floor, move to just across the 3 o'clock position, hold the camera 2 foot above, you're going to pretty much see a vertical line.
If it's at eye level.
Right, I think probably what you'll have to do is do a bunch. If you've got a hula hoop, unfortunately I don't. Try it, Carl.
Lesson 4 is actually about hula hoops. Lesson 4. Lesson 1, part 4. So the video that follows right after this one is about hula hoops.
Oh well, there you go. Is it already out?
It's already out. It's an old video. I do plan on going back and remaking it, just because it's old and it was talking really slow in the video.
Okay.
And I want to try and speed things up a bit.
Well, if I can think of a neat way of showing it, Kyle, I'll just do a few. I won't do a video about it, but I'll take a few photos and then whiz them over to you to explain. Then maybe you adjust one of your videos.
I'd love that, so that way I can actually make improvements as I'm going back and changing things at the same time.
Okay, cool. Super chats. Judy Bassett, thank you, Judy, has super chatted €7. As usual, saying nothing at all. You're a very quiet lady, Judy. Thank you very much for the super chat. Harold has super chatted $5 US, saying the polite flirts are the worst because many of them seem intelligent enough to assemble rather rational arguments, but they are totally misconstrued. So perhaps this is your cunning plan then, Kyle. Be polite and catch us out. But then Harold has super chatted again. Thank you, Harold. $2 US, saying Kyle can be saved. I agree, Harold. I think that with honesty and openness on both parts, hey, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that eventually, and I'm hoping, Kyle, and I mean this in the best way, I'm hoping that I can persuade you to change your mind. Okay. All right. We'll leave it at that.
Well, that's the thing about being open like this. Make yourself vulnerable. You're able to build relationships, and that's what I really aim for. Is I want to.
Can you imagine?
Continue to build relationships and have good, edifying discussions.
Well, can I ask you, Carl? Let's say we watch the next 30 seconds of this video, and then let's say I point something out, and to your mind you think, by golly, he's right, and it absolutely is a globe, and you know in your mind then at that point, just for the sake of argument, yep, he is right. It is a globe. I was wrong, and I can see. Yeah. How would you feel about that?
I think there'd be a lot of videos I would have to go back and remake.
Okay, yeah. No,
because there's a lot of I got a lot here, and so I was like, okay, if there's one little thing that comes out, then I'm all about going back and changing things.
Yeah, but I'm
if
saying,
I found it in this one video, that would be a lot.
But I'm not talking about, let's say, the evidence, this piece of evidence. Let's say you do this hula hoop thing, and then it like the scrunch test. But instead of, oh dear, I'll need to remake this bit of this video. Let's say I present something, I don't know what, but just for the sake of argument, I present something now, and it's absolutely slam dunk proof. You're 100% convinced now the Earth is a globe. This is just for the sake of argument. How do you think you would feel about that if you now know in your heart of hearts that you were wrong? Would that affect your life greatly?
No. I see. I like the whole new set of eyes, and there's no way I could deny the new set of eyes that I've been given throughout this whole flat Earth experience. I've able to look at a lot of things with a lot more interest than I've ever had before. And so, before when it came to astronomy and geography and all these other things, I never cared about it before until the flat Earth came along, and all of a sudden now, wow. That's really interesting. Now there's a reason for it, why I'd need it. Does that make sense? Okay. So that's what it really comes down to. Is I would never be really upset about a new passion for something that I never cared about before. Does that make sense? It wasn't until I took my ornithology class that I really fell in love with birds. When I took ornithology, it just opened my eyes to a whole new world. I was like, wow, birds are really cool. I never cared about them before in my life until I took my ornithology class, and now I love birds. And I get out with my binoculars, and I can point out all kinds of different birds and tell you all about them. And
yeah,
it's really fun. So that's kind of
learning is fun. Learning is fun, and I'll tell you what, that's one thing. But
opened that door for me. It's made things that used to be boring very interesting, and I'll never be upset about that.
Okay, well, I mean that's one thing. About this whole debunking side of things, I have learnt masses. I've learnt about all sorts of things that I had no need to know anything about before, and obviously it's brought me a great many friends and online relationships, which is wonderful. But just the things I've learnt have been astonishing. I've ended up chatting to a guy who was involved in the NASA space program. He was one of the test subjects for one of the Gemini spacesuits. He worked on Gemini, he worked on Apollo, and he worked right through to the space shuttle. Wow. It's just wonderful things I've learned. All sorts of stuff about the atmosphere. Hey, I've sent up a weather balloon. You know, even doing the flat Earth stuff, I didn't think that was something an ordinary guy could do until I found out.
Before you ever jumped into this, would you ever have guessed yourself launching a weather balloon into way up there?
You nearly said into space, didn't you?
Oh, way up there.
No, I never would have guessed I'd have done that. And when I first came up with the idea, I thought that's ridiculous. And I actually threw the idea away for about 6 months. And then I thought of it again. And I thought, well, you know, I'll have a look on YouTube. And I saw a couple of videos. And I thought, you know, it looks like these are some ordinary people or a school has done it. So I'm going to find out about it. So, yeah, I never would have really thought it'd be something I could have done. And it was a wonderful experience.
This whole discussion has been life-changing, and so, yeah.
Well, talking about important things, you say life-changing. There's been a super chat from Second Best Bob. It is a polite question, Kyle. He says, "Can you ask Kyle if he does have children?" Yes, he does. If he does have children, does he tell them the Earth is flat and what they learn at school is wrong? Now, I realise that's quite a personal question, Kyle. But I'll put the question to you, and I guess it's up to you if you feel able or willing to answer or not.
For me, I point out different things that they show in school, just like I do the textbook I've been reading. I'm doing a whole series on modern Earth science destroyed, which is the name of the series, and I'm just reading the textbook and pointing out all kinds of things. And then I let people decide for themselves, and I do the same thing with my kids. Is you guys can believe this or not, you know. I'm not forcing you to believe anything, but you make your own decision.
Okay. Now, I realise, you know, if you're of a position that you believe the Earth is flat and school is teaching them something different, that does put you in a very difficult situation. It's not the same, but I had, or me and Mrs. S had a similar issue. And it is a dilemma for anyone who's a parent. They will know. There's all sorts of dilemmas come up with kids. For us, it was with regard to religion. At the time, Mrs. S was still a churchgoer, and I definitely was not. So what do? Do they go to church? Do they not go to church? So we decided the best thing was, when they were very young, that they went to church. If they asked me questions, I would answer honestly, but without trying to sort of trick them or bully them, or denigrate the church. So I gave them an opposite opinion. So they basically they had to keep going until such times they reached an age and said, "Oh, I don't want to go to church," and we'd say, "Why?" And then if they could give a valid reason why they didn't want to, rather than, "Oh, I just want to stay in bed on a Sunday," then at that point they no longer had to go. And the way it turned out is my eldest daughter is a Christian. The other two are not. So it's a tough question, Kyle. A tough decision. So I do understand that.
I still see value in the public education system. I'm not saying don't go to school or anything like that. I still want them to go because it's how they answer questions.
Yeah.
I want them to be intellectual people. I want them to learn how to make a good persuasive argument. And you can't make a good persuasive argument unless you understand who you're talking to and what the other side of the case is. And so, yeah, I definitely see value in traditional school.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for discussing that, Carl, because that very definitely wasn't on the board for tonight. But sorry, I do apologise. I've forgotten who else. Second Best Bob. Thank you for the question, Bob, and for the super chat. Okay. Well, I guess we better crack on with this video. We're just over halfway. So let's see what's next, shall we?
All right. Now we're gonna zoom in.
Oh, sorry, zooming into that pixel bit again, Carl. I whizzed it back a few seconds.
Rate of curvature over here. We can measure it out if we wanted to or needed to. But as we go all the way across, all of a sudden we start getting these big, long stretches of straight horizon.
So that's not showing us a consistent amount of curvature. It's a lot flatter over here than it was over here.
So with that, Mr. Sensible failed to meet expectation number 2. On that same note, I want to point out a different way curvature is being created in this image.
I'm going to go ahead and put a red arrow right where we see the horizon line. I think that's pretty good. Now I'm going to adjust the brightness and contrast, and we're going to see if that... You'll see here that our horizon line is suddenly rising now. Going up and up and up. And if I go the other way, it's going to lower. And the reason why this is happening is because this curvature that we're seeing is not being caused by the curvature of the Earth. It's being caused by the light reflecting off of the atmosphere, the sun's spotlight.
Okay, Carl. So that's something you did cover in one of your videos, the business of the horizon apparently
That was
moving.
my second.
Oh, sorry?
My second major response video that I did
Yes, yes.
last time.
Do you get, never mind curve or straight, but do you get why that happens, why it moves? What it is the black of space, the black of the sky there is not, I mean, to the naked eye, above the fuzzy bit, above there, it looks just black. But in reality, it isn't. I mean, I'm not sure how many colours the monitor's got. What was it usually? 65?
In there.
Well, yeah, but if you take a photograph, even if it's showing black, if you take a photograph of something black, it looks black. If you start adjusting the brightness of that, you will start to detect variations. Because, I mean, I don't know what it is nowadays, but it used to be with graphics cards, 65 million or 64 million colours or whatever it is. So, I don't know, there might be 100 different levels of black there. And as you're adjusting the brightness, you're pushing them up, up, up. And so more of them are becoming visible.
A little bit of reflection up in the atmosphere way up there. So,
well, is it reflection, or is it just what you're saying? It's reflected from the Earth, or it's just where you've got some atmosphere. I mean, the reason you can see anything that the blue of the sky is because of sunlight hitting the atmosphere. Where you're higher and you've got less and less atmosphere, there's less and less for it to hit, so it becomes less and less visible. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that there is still some atmosphere up there, and so you're getting a gradient, but it's nowhere near as strong as the gradient as you were seeing below my red arrow there.
Okay, and I'd agree with that. So that blackness is not pure black. There is some slight colour that's not visible to the naked eye. When you adjust the brightness and contrast, it is obviously affecting those numeric values, pushing them up or down, so they become visible. I'd agree with that, but that doesn't give you curve or straight. It's just lightening and darkening the image, which in effect is making the Earth bleed out into the sky or the other way. So that horizon, whatever shape it is moving up and down a bit. I don't think that's got anything to do. Well, I know, but being polite, I don't think that's got anything to do with why it would look curved.
We'll talk about that more soon.
Oh, okay. Is that more in this video? Is it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's crack on then.
And this can be seen even stronger when I adjust the brightness and contrast, and you can see the bottom part of our spotlight, the ring or circle. You can see the spotlight effect going up. There you go, on the bottom there. I guess that's... There you go. Here I'm trying to point out the bottom curve of the sun's spotlight. Now let's compare that to the horizon we see on this ball.
Okay. I remember that now. I had forgotten that about the bottom curve, Kyle. I've stopped it just when you're going to do the ball, So I haven't seen that. And by the way, for those who join in later, I have not seen this video before tonight, and I just realised I missed the name, but I see someone's joined us, a new member tonight. I don't know if I can scroll back and see them. Oh, Harold. Thank you very much, Harold, for becoming a member. Appreciate that. Yes, so when you're adjusting that brightness, Kyle, if you took a picture of my face and then you started knocking down the brightness and reducing the colours, what you're doing is you're throwing away information. Any pixels that are lower than a value of whatever just turn to black, and any pixels above turn to white. You're throwing away all the various gradations of colour and brightness and hue and whatever. Do you see what I'm saying?
I understand there's a difference between a hard edge and a soft edge, and those are terms.
Yeah. Well, if you took that of me with the beautiful dome of my head, then I guess all of my head would end up white. Everything behind end up black. Whereas with the Earth, we've got that nice gradient, basketball. Haven't we? So I'm sorry. Say again.
Compare your head to the basketball, and we're going to look at the horizon on the basketball, and we're going to compare with that.
Okay. Well, I will just read out. I see I've got a couple more super chats. Let's just refresh that. Sorry about this. Okay, a couple of super chats. Tatty Bogle. Good evening, Tatty. Not seen you for a while, my friend. Super chatted £1 just to say hello. Hello, Tatty. And Dominic Deansthuber super chatted €2. Send a picture in the general chat. That might help. A picture of what, Dominic? I'm not expecting you to super chat. I'm not really sure. Perhaps if it's something a mod can help you with, just chuck some messages in chat. Maybe a mod can help out. And a Madman super chatted £5. Thank you, Mad. Saying, where does Kyle think the sun is? It's very important to work out the reflection. Actually, it's quite a good point. Yeah. You know where you were adjusting that brightness up and down? Did you try it sometimes when the sun was in view, or behind, to the left, to the right?
I just went with the one picture. That's something we could definitely do in the future. Is take more shots, and I would be more than happy to do that. Take more shots about it and look for that.
Yeah, because I agree that may well have an effect. But the other thing that's going to have an effect is certain areas. Most of it was cloud covered, to be fair, but certain areas had less. Had no cloud. There was a couple of blotches, which was what was helped identify via satellite that Mage really had flown. But even areas where there is cloud, as you can see on some of the lower shots, the sort of cloud and the patterning on the cloud was different. So that's going to give you different areas of brightness which you're fading in and out.
But this one is actually a different picture than I did last time. When I did my second Mage response video, I looked at a lower altitude image because the circle on the Earth was a lot more visible in that image. But with this one, I went with the higher image because that's just going to be what I'm going with. It's just focusing on this one. And so I've done the same observation, found the lower curve in this image as well as that one. So they go hand in hand here.
Okay. And Mike M's actually asked a very important question. You've got your Spalding ball on the screen. He says, can we use a Wilson ball for once? Okay, all right. Well, let's see what you do with this basketball, isn't it? Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and adjust the brightness and contrast on that with black and white. Notice how our horizon line doesn't appear to move around. It's staying in the exact same spot. And that is because our horizon is being created by the curvature of the ball. So here Mr. Sensible failed expectation number 3, ruling out the atmosphere by showing us a hard horizon line that doesn't move when you adjust the brightness and contrast.
Ooh, okay. Right. Well, obviously the ball does not have a fuzzy edge like the Earth does, Kyle.
So, yeah, I was going with the hard edge here and saying comparing with that. And this observation right here is what I shared the other video with from Night Sky Jeff. He shared this observation on my debate board and talked about this moving line.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I did look at that video, and of course, in isolation, I didn't know what you were at. But we will play that then in a while.
That's the context.
Yeah. So, I mean, when Mage was up, not only have you got the atmosphere itself, as in the air, we also had an awful lot of cloud. So you're definitely not going to get a hard edge. But even without the cloud, you're going to get some sort of blurring because of the atmosphere. You know what it's like if you are somewhere, well, looking out over the ocean or whatever, things, never mind about curving behind the horizon or that, but things that are just a long, long way away look bluer and bluer and bluer and more fuzzy and smaller, of course.
So the hard edge right here was saying that we are measuring the curvature of the Earth, not any kind of curvature of clouds. Does that make sense?
Yes. If we had no atmosphere, so that you were just looking at the land and or ocean at the horizon, it would be a darn sight easier. Absolutely. But we have got horizon. Have got atmosphere and clouds. There's not much we can do about that. But I'll say again that the thickness of that atmosphere. We were at what 20. I forget, 24 miles, 25 miles, whatever high. So you're looking at a distance 400 miles away. So 25 miles thick of atmosphere at that distance is going to be minuscule across your field of view. So even if you had a lot of clouds to the left and hardly any or none to the right, that still couldn't account for the amount of curve. And as I said, if you turned around, all those clouds that are piled up in one place, you'd still could make the bit without any clouds look like the top of a curve, if you see what I'm saying.
So there's a difference here between expectation 2 and expectation 3, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more with the stage as picture in the background that you got there.
Okay. By the way, hi Mitch. Good evening to you. You join us. We're chatting with Kyle, for anyone else who has just joined us. It's Kyle from the Flat Earth Institute of Science, and one of his videos, a sort of secondary or thirdary sort of Mage response, and we're having a chat and going through it. First time I've seen it. All right, well, let's see what you say about the stage.
Although, you should also keep this in mind. Please notice how this flat stage appears to curve when you shine a circular spotlight on it. Now watch what happens when we adjust that brightness and contrast. That horizon line doesn't appear to be moving anywhere. So that's definitely something that should be taken into consideration. Oh, now it's moving somewhere, but not very much, just a little bit. We'll call this expectation number 4. If you want to prove that the curve is being created by the curvature of the Earth, you need to prove that the spotlight effect is not taking place.
Okay, now that one, Kyle, I think is much more interesting. I really do, with the spotlight. Although, of course, you adjusted it too much, and then you got movement on that as well. Yeah,
I didn't see any movement go up in that picture. I just saw the movement go down, and so I think that's a really noteworthy observation.
Yeah. Now, one thing I'll say is those spotlights. It's hard to tell from a 2D image. Those spots obviously are circular spots casting circles of light, but they're aimed.
The lines on the floor actually turn it into the 3D effect.
Yeah,
it's more than just 2D.
But the spotlights are shining slightly towards us. You can tell because you can see the face of the actual lights. It would be interesting with a spotlight facing straight down, but yeah, because they're facing towards us, the light's going to scatter more towards us, which is why you're going to get more movement there. Do you see what I'm saying?
These are really good things to think about and consider. I'd like to get further observations later on. As you said, putting the light in different locations. I didn't really want to put it behind you because then we wouldn't be able to see it. So I was just trying to get the point across here.
Is this an actual excuse me? Is this an actual spotlight or spotlights that you set up then?
No, this is just stock image, a free stock image.
Okay. Yeah, it would
So
be interesting. It would be interesting to have one with a light, a single round spotlight shining directly downwards, and see what effect you get then.
The picture I had in my mind when I first had when I did my page response was shining a flashlight onto a table, and that was just a very strong image that I had right there in my mind. And so this was kind of an example of that, but I didn't think a flashlight shining on a table would be quite as strong as.
Yeah, is this an actual photograph?
I believe so. It could be CGI. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is just a.
Yeah.
This is an idea.
I mean, I think that I'm not claiming that, Carl. Just to be clear, I'm not claiming that. But if that was CGI, done with ray tracing, then it may very well be that everything sort of further away from us is pretty much black. I don't know, but I do think that's more interesting. If I'm absolutely honest, I do not think that has any correlation with the Mage images. However, I think it's harder for me to explain why you see that effect. I mean, to my mind, it's because those lights are pointed at an angle towards us, so you've got a cut off on the far side, but on the near side, the lights sort of sprawling towards you. That's where I think I'd be going. But that is more interesting.
Never seen anyone make these kind of observations before, so this is all kind of new for me too. So.
Yeah, well, I admit, Kyle, I'll happily admit you have brought something new to the table there. I mean, when you first did that brightening, darkening on the Mage photo and talking about a curve at the bottom, that is, to my mind, is literally nothing more than manipulating the image, which makes it brighter or darker and throws data away. I mean, you're doing the same sort of thing to this image, but I'm not sure it's the right sort of thing to compare it with. I'm being honest. I don't know.
There's no contrast on this one. It's just there, and the whole point is the spotlight on the ground can make it look curved.
Okay. Well, fair enough. Should we carry on? There's not that much more to the video, so that's expectation number 4. Let's carry on then.
Expectation number 5 applies more to video footage. It states, curvature should gradually become more and more visible at a consistent rate as you rise in elevation. So when Mr. Sensible's horizon at 25,000 meters was flatter than it was at 15,000 meters, Mr. Sensible failed to meet that expectation. All in all, I can describe all of this as a successful parry. Our hypothesis has withstood Mr. Sensible's balloon test. However, we haven't proven our hypothesis true yet. We haven't yet defeated our rivaling hypothesis that the Earth is a globe. But our hypothesis that the Earth is flat is still standing and is able to continue on to the next bout. That is something. However, the main thing I want you to remember from this lesson is our list of expectations. The things that would disconfirm our hypothesis. There are also additional expectations after this, but we'll talk about those later on as we talk about the z-axis. We'll also be providing some additional evidences and be proving some points as well, so I look forward to that. Until our next bout, thank you for watching.
Right, well, I've watched that to the end now, Kyle. It'll be interesting to see you when you tackle the video with that boat behind the horizon. That's definite good one. And I want to thank you for saying that you okay, you felt you successfully parried it, but you've still not proven your case, and I think that is honest. There was something else. I just want to go back a bit. I missed something something you said. Oh, that was it. Curvature gradually.
Fine.
Yes, changing at a consistent rate. Have you looked at Walter Bislin's page about Mage? Because
Walter Bislin say that it should appear flatter, higher than
no.
than at a lower.
Walter Bislin is the guy who wrote some of these calculators, Earth curve calculators and so on. What he did was he took Mage images from various heights. He applied the camera's image correction software, so it gets rid of any barrel lens distortion. He took those images at various heights and then compared them against the calculated amount of curve. This is something I couldn't do because, to pick a height, 6,000 meters, 10,000 meters, whatever it was, his calculator would actually show you and could draw an image that would show the amount of curve you should see over a sphere. He then compared them to what Mage was showing. They matched.
He explained why 25,000 was so much flatter than it was at the 15,000 feet.
With that image, I don't know the exact image. I mean, you showed 5 of them on there. Can we just park that for a second and come back to it? So what he did was he took those took images. He ran the calculations for how much curve there should be visible, overlaid that on the images, and they matched. So the lower ones would have less curve, and as you go higher, you should see more and more curve. That is what he found. Okay. With regard to the image at 25,000, let's just. I'm just trying to skip the video forward to find that again. All right, I've got it. 25,000 meters.
I showed it more depth in the other video and made my H2 response.
Well, I've just called it up on the screen, and to be fair to me and to you, with all 5 of those images at the scale they are, it's hard to see. And in fact, 3,000 meters to my mind looks flat. 11,000 meters looks too fuzzy to see anything. 15,000 meters is a clearer image. It's at a slight angle, we can't see all of it. 25,000. Oh no, I mean it's difficult. I think I can see curve, but it's difficult. And even at the 37,000, sorry, just under 37,800, I am quite comfortable at saying I can see curve. The 25,000, I'm not so comfortable, but it's small and it's hard to see. We could try and find that Mage image.
The overall point here is that if you wanted to make it really convincing, it would be showing that gradual increase in curvature, not being curved all of a sudden flat. It's curved, it's flat. If you're getting that non-gradual increase, then that's going to be kind of like,
Right. What you need to do is, Kyle, with regard to that, I mean, you may agree or disagree. If you go to my not this minute, but if you go to my Mage What Shape is the Earth, the actual experimental video that's about 45-50 minutes long, you don't need to watch it again, but there is a link to Walter Bislin's page in the description of that, unless someone a mod can get hold of that and we drop it in the chat now, that'd be great. There's a link to that, and he's a very clever bloke. He does stuff that there's no way I could do. He's phenomenal at the maths.
Algorithms and all that. Yeah.
Exactly. And as I quite freely admit, I am not a mathematician. He explains it, and whoosh, 99% of it's over the top of my head. Have a look at his, because he actually does do that. He takes images at about 6 different heights and compares them, and see what. You might look at that and disagree with him. That's fair enough. You're entitled to do that, of course, but have a look, because that would be my answer. I've got a couple more super chats to read, and then we can have a look at that very, very short video by whoever it was. Mitch Goldstein super chatted $5 US. Thank you very much, Mitch, and hi to Julie if you're there. You cannot prove something is not taking place. Next, I guess that pertains to a particular point in our chat, and I'm not sure which point that was, Kyle. But he's saying you can't prove something is not taking place. Cygnus TSP super chat at $5 US. Hi, Mr. S. I'm tardy, but it's great to see you late than not at all. Well, thank you very much, Cygnus. I appreciate that. Of course, you can see me again by going back to the beginning and watching the whole video. But thank you. And Paul Howarth super chatted $5 New Zealand dollars, upside down dollars there, for the infinitely patient Mr. Sensible. Why, thank you, Paul. I don't need patience with Kyle, in that we're disagreeing. That there's no.
That's okay.
Yeah, that is okay.
Oh,
I mean, what would be the point? I'm sorry, Kyle. Go ahead.
You've been talking about doing a Mage 3, and so these are my expectations. If I'm going to judge the Mage 3, I'm going to look for each of these different points and
right.
see
Well,
what I can see.
It's not decided yet, Kyle, but you may be in for a disappointment. I do want to do a Mage 3. Of course, with lockdown, that could be goodness knows when. Sorry, just checking my heating. I don't know when, but I put out a poll. Now, you have been engaging with regard to Mage, and that's been great. Big names, shall we say, like Nathan Oakley, Sleeping Warrior, and that, basically haven't touched it because, to my mind, they don't know how to argue against it. The only other people, there's one other person made a reasonable, or partly a reasonable attempt, because he certainly raised some proper questions about the temperature gradient. It's the Irish guy, I can't think of his name now. Brian's logic. Everyone else, Kyle, to be honest, they were just stupid. There was even one guy who said the string was an artificial horizon. Would you believe? And then, of course, Ranty Flat Earth.
I think I kind of proposed that idea. I was like, is it? And then I noticed all of the lighting on the string. Is like, oh, no, that verifies that it's not an artificial horizon.
Well, you obviously looked at the video closely enough. I mean, I did say at the beginning and showed it, but he just said it was an artificial horizon. Actually, just as an aside, Kyle, I did a debunk on Brandon Toy just a few days ago. That same guy, Jimbo, was on there, and he insisted that the Mage photographs were taken. What height do you think he thought they were taken from, Kyle? Those images. Let's say the highest image. Where was that taken from?
Don't tell me he guessed it was like 100 feet.
Come on, I want you to take a guess. What's the worst guess a silly flat earther could make?
He just said, I think it'd be really wild if he just said it was 100 feet.
Okay. Well, you would be closer than, if you said 100, you'd be closer to the distance it actually was, because he said at least 3,000 miles up. 3,000 miles? Okay. Yes. Well, since you can see the flight from launch to when the balloon bursts and then comes back down again, from launch to balloon burst was 2 hours 20 minutes, I think. So it would have had to be going up at a speed of just under Mach 1.7. The guy's an idiot. So yeah, you have done a proper response. We don't agree, but it was a proper, polite response. Now,
I was trying to say, I wasn't trying to convert meters or anything like that. I was just
no. That's fine. That's fine.
He might have said that would have been really wild. I'm like,
but yeah, he said 3,000, at least 3,000 miles. So Mage 3. So what I did, Carl, is I did do a poll on my community page asking people. I'm not revealing what my thoughts are, but when I do Mage 3, should I do another one to scientifically, as best I can, try and show something, perhaps some other tests, whatever that is. Someone suggested horizon drop, for instance, basically Mage 2 improved, or should I say stuff it because the big names aren't touching it. We got a load of idiots who don't know what they're talking about. We had Ranty Flat Earth debunk the wide angle lens, for instance, insisting it was the Mage camera, even though it didn't have the strings on it. And there was only yourself, and Brian's logic, who 50% was a good attempt, the other 50% was silly. So instead of doing another sort of experimental one, do I do something entirely different just for fun? And the votes were roughly 20% said to experiment, 80% said just they're not going to take any notice, just do something for fun or something as a challenge. So you may be disappointed in that it won't be another scientific one.
Just for fun is still fun.
Oh dear. Maybe we. Hey, I just had a brilliant idea for Mage 3. What we're going to do is we're going to take Kyle up there, and when he comes back down, he's going to say, "Yep, it's a globe." How about that? Have you ever tried parachuting, Kyle?
In the future, maybe you could try like a different time of day or something.
Yes, I mean it would be interesting to do one at dusk or dawn, wouldn't it?
Night Sky Jeff on my debate board. He was he's not a flat earther by any means. He comes in, presents a lot of good cases against a lot of my points here. He's,
okay.
Single-handedly thrown more of my arguments into the graveyard than anyone else, and so.
But you've accepted that, have you?
Huh?
I'm assuming you have. You have accepted it when he's thrown your argument in the graveyard. You sort of chucked that argument and moved on.
You've proved me wrong, and so I take my argument and I throw it in the graveyard. And eventually, when I'm running low on content, maybe I'll do it for Halloween or something. I think it might be fitting. I'll start doing a series on arguments from the graveyard.
Oh, well, that sounds interesting. Yeah, no, that does sound interesting, actually. Mitch Goldstein.
There's a number of different ones that are just dead arguments. And it's like, guys, I want to help you guys out as much as possible. So don't make these arguments because they're just dead arguments.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I've seen that before. Arguments flat earthers should never use. Yeah, absolutely.
But you hear that one from the globe earthers, but you don't really see flat earthers telling other flat earthers not to use these arguments. And so,
yeah, but I have seen that
so
somewhere.
I
know what. Sorry, I beg your pardon, Carl. It's another topic. Young Earth creationism. I've seen that before. Arguments young Earth creationists shouldn't use because they're wrong. There's other arguments that they can make, and that's fine. But it was arguments that were very definitely wrong and have been totally busted, and so it saves everyone time. If they don't make the arguments, people don't have to debunk those arguments because everyone knows those arguments are wrong anyway. But Mitch Goldstein has super chatted $2 US saying, what would Kyle do if he found the Earth was round? Well, Mr. Mitch Goldstein, you should have been here a little earlier because I did ask him. You're going to have to watch the earlier part of the video, I'm afraid. I'm not going to ask Kyle to explain that again. But yeah, good thought though, Mitch. Good thought.
I was going to say
10 minutes late.
My arguments from the graveyard series, the biggest hang up on me that makes me the most nervous is I would end up shooting a bunch of friends in the back there saying, oh, don't do this guy, and I don't really want to do that. I'm trying to build and create unity here and kind of build a community, and if I go and start tattling on all my friends and saying, oh, don't make that argument, then it's going to turn me into a bad guy, and I don't want to do that.
Well, I had nearly forgotten. I don't want to forget. We got this other guy's video. Let me just see if I can get that in here. It's only a very short one, isn't it? Hopefully I can get it into this same window so it'll work. Untitled 10 RGB color 8-bit gamma integer GIMP built-in sRGB 2 layers 3872 by 2592 GIMP 2021020. What a catchy title he's got there. Right, let me just make sure this is yes, it is picking up. That's good. Okay. There's no sound on it, is there? Well, I guess what I'll do is I'll let it play. It's only 19 seconds long, and then perhaps you can explain what's happening. Or, well, actually, you can explain what's happening now. I'll just start it playing now. It tells us what's happening.
So, Night Sky Jeff, he went and shared this different observation of a ball, and he's showing me how he got the Horizon 2 move on that ball. Does that make sense? And
yes.
So before in my video, I had this expectation that if it's a ball, the Horizon should never move. This guy Jeff went and proved me wrong and said, nope, the horizon does move. But he's showing me it moving down. I'm not seeing that horizon move up. Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay. All right. So this is what we were talking about earlier on about a hard horizon. Yeah.
He's moving that horizon down, but he's not moving that horizon up. It's just a hard horizon. And so if there's something that's going to prove a globe better than something else, it's going to be a hard horizon rather than a soft horizon.
Yes, it would if we had one, and if we were on the moon, then you would be able to do that sort of thing, of course. What I would say is Mage is still within that atmosphere, and we're looking. Do you know what I mean? If we were higher, a lot higher, so we're above it, then I guess the atmosphere that, as you're adjusting the image, is going to go downwards. There's nowhere for it to go up. Right now, there is atmosphere higher up in the picture. I think that's going to have an effect as well. Yeah. That would be interesting. I mean, we're just discussing this. I can't sort of bust you on that, if you like. I might give some thought to see if I can think of a way of explaining it, or do. I mean, obviously this guy has shown you, and you've accepted, which is cool. Moving the horizon down, as you put it. I'll see if I can have a think of a way we could do it to move it up.
Acknowledge has helped me change my expectations a bit. So,
well, Martin H points out that the ball doesn't have an atmosphere. That's true, but then that's what Carl is saying. If we had a hard edge, it, you know, that would show the curve. If there's a curve, we wouldn't be adjusting it up and down as he did. But yeah, I think that's the big thing. We've got an atmosphere, so that the dark of night has variations in colour. And thinking about this ball that's on the screen, I'm just going to go back towards the beginning. Well, we have got variations of colour in the sky. I don't know if that's going to let me see if I can get that to enlarge a bit. I don't know if it will, because of the way I got this set up. No, it's not. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Yes, is that getting bigger? Yes, it is. All right, I'm going to try this again, Kyle. I'm going to try and zoom this a bit, see if we can see his. There we go. See his imagery any closer. Right. Is that going? It's a shame he's not doing it with a lot larger image or a closer image, because actually when you think about it on the scale, can he actually get that to go up? But it's so slight, you're not going to see it. Because I mean, if that was the Earth he was looking at, what distance would be from it? I don't know, 500,000 miles away, whatever it is. Whereas in Mage we were only 38 kilometres up and within the atmosphere. Be interesting.
That is a good something to think about.
Yeah, I wonder if he could. I mean, if you're in touch with this guy, ask him if he could do the same again, but from a lot closer, so you can only see, you know, a small portion of that curve, just to see if there is any effect that can go outwards as well.
I could just zoom in on the picture, and I could do the experiment zoomed in, and
yeah, but don't forget, you can't create data by zooming in data that's not there. You can't create. I mean, you could try that just to see, but I think it would be fairer to get the picture a lot closer, so you've only got a portion of that horizon line, and then do it. Do both.
Agreed.
Do both.
Agreed.
Excellent. Okay.
There's a lot to think about here, and yeah, but the main thing is these are kind of those expectations that I'm definitely going to take into consideration anytime anyone shows me any kind of apparent curve on the horizon. Say, oh, that proves it's a globe. I'm like, well, how does it compare it up to these expectations? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. I see that we got someone in the chat, Mellow Fellow. Do forgive me a second, please, Kyle. Mellow Fellow. That is pathetic. This, at best, you've disproved the radius. Why don't you go along and ask Mr. Nathan Lying Oakley what the rest of the quote is? Why don't you ask him why, when he showed that quote, he muted the rest of what I said? Then come back and discuss it, all right?
Talk to Nathan Oakley. I don't know.
No, no, I'm not talking to Nathan Oakley. Either.
He hasn't contacted me, and I haven't contacted him.
Yes, Chris Durham Music Channel, I am suddenly regular size again. Well, listen, Kyle, we've had a 2-hour stream here. I really genuinely want to thank you. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I really have.
As if I didn't want to come out as harsh or mean by pointing out these different things.
Far from it. Far from it. And I would never take offence at if you just did a video calling me names, then yeah, I might get upset. But if you did that and said, look, Mr. S, you're an idiot because X, Y, and Z, and this shows it, I wouldn't have taken offence at that, and I certainly don't take offence at polite disagreement. So please do not worry about that. Okay.
So here's my nightmare. I've seen a bunch of Professor Dave Explains. I feel like whenever he does a video commenting about the flat Earth, he does so in the most condescending way possible, and he's just very rude about it. And my nightmare is ever sounding like him or kind of having that kind of smugness in talking. And so I really try not to have that. And some people have accused me of having a degree of that, and that's what I try not to do.
Yeah,
does that make sense? And so that's my concern with this video.
Well, I mean,
I didn't want to say what Professor Dave Explains.
No, listen, far from it, Kyle. So please put that right out your mind, okay? And like I said, if it was, if you were having a bit of a go at me and calling me silly or stupid because, or just making fun of my lovely hairstyle, I don't take offence at that. And hey, I'm the last one who should take offence because I make fun of other people. Okay.
Might be shaving my head pretty soon too. So.
Well, I mean, the thing is, with people like you, the way we've interacted, I might tease you a bit, okay, but that's all it would be. Whereas if there's someone like Nathan Oakley who, not being funny, is absolutely disgusting. Let me put it this way, Kyle. I had challenged him to a debate. And he said, "Oh yeah, come on my channel." I said, "No, in a neutral forum, so it's fair." And he said, "Yeah, he'll agree to that if I suck his balls and look him in the eyes while doing so." So that gets absolutely no respect from me, and I quite happily have a good, long, hard, rude go at him. Okay, you are not going to get that because that's not the position we're in at all. And
what I really respect about you is you've actually got good sportsmanship, and I'm not gonna waste any time on anyone who isn't going to be a good sport about things.
Cool. I'm just going to interrupt us again because Mellow Fellow, you're still quoting that thing. So here's the full quote for you, just for you, Mellow Fellow. "If everything you said was correct, then at best you would have disproved the radius of the globe, not that it's not a globe." There you go. A little different than what your Mr. Oakley claims. Still, I think perhaps we'll call it a night. I'm not sure what sort of time of day is it there, Kyle. Let me have a guess. Is it about 4 in the afternoon?
Right on.
Whoa, that was a good guess. I mean, I do know roughly where you are, but I wouldn't have known the time zone. That was a guess.
I'd be a mathematician after all. You never know.
Could be. All right, listen, Kyle, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Thank you for doing the response videos, and hopefully we can keep this going backwards and forwards. I know I haven't done an actual response video to you, but I will have a think about that hula hoop type thing. See if I can come up with an example that shows that. I won't do a video, as I said. If I can, I'll show some photos to you, and then you can adjust your thoughts.
As I said, if you can find something that is really convincing, I'm more than happy to go back and remake my video to make it more accurate.
And Kyle, although you still do not believe, accept the same as I do. I appreciate the fact that you have moved with respect to that scrunching thing, that you are open to changing your position, and that is all you can ask. Even if we don't end up 100% agreeing, the fact that you have, I've never seen someone like Oakley say, do you know, actually I was wrong about that. Has anyone seen Oakley do that? Because I haven't.
Yeah, and I really try to have that higher standard.
Good, excellent, mate. So what I would ask of you then, I will, as I said, have a think about that hula hoop. I don't have a hula hoop, but I'll see if I can think of something else that can show the same effect. Could you please have a look at Walter Bislin's page? I'll see if I can get the link to you straight after the stream, and then you can have a look, because it's some really interesting stuff. Okay, it's very heavy, but I'm sure that some other mathematician would have called him out on it if he had either lied or made a mistake.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely have a look at it.
Yeah, have a look. And maybe that you can do a video challenging him. I'm not going to suggest you do, because I think it'd be tough. But have a look. All right. Listen, everybody who has been in tonight, thank you very, very much for all the comments, the super chats. Big thanks to my members and the new member. Welcome. And of course to my wonderful patrons. I've got a video out Saturday, I think, and possibly Monday night at midnight. I'll be on a live stream, quite a big channel live stream. It's all under wraps right now. I'll let people know nearer the time when it's going to happen for sure. So thank you very much for joining me. It's been such an enjoyable night, and I hope you've all enjoyed it. I know that you guys don't agree with Kyle, or 99% of you don't agree with Kyle, but I hope that I know that you can all see he has been a good sport. He has argued his case, and it's been interesting, which is, I think, all we can ask for. So thank you very much. Take care. Stay well. See you soon, and stay sensible.
Whoa. Hold on.
Yeah.
I just want to say, I think we've come a long way since that initial video you did on me with the Dunning-Kruger effect. I think we've come a long way from that.
Oh, I might still accuse you of that. but at least now you know me. You know there's no malice in that. But I've got to be honest. There's probably less chance of that, because where I can't remember which the original one was, Kyle. But at the time, I'll be honest, I probably would have thought, yep, it's just Dunning-Kruger effect. But the fact that you genuinely appear to be,
I don't know a lot of things.
Well, the fact that you genuinely appear to be looking, considering, then I would have to revise my opinion. Okay, I might think you're mistaken, but I would say here and now that you, in my estimation, and I don't mean this in any patronising way, I genuinely don't, but in my estimation, you have really, you have really gone up in my estimation through our dealings. Okay.
The last thing is, you got to make sure when you get the chance, you don't have to do it right now because I don't know, but you got to watch the Yo Mama battle and the Yo Daddy battle. That was my favorite one.
Okay, I will. And for those who missed it, they should have been there before the stream started and saw a whole bunch of funny Yo Mama jokes. All right. Thank you very much, Kyle. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Take care. Stay sensible.
Good night.